Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I just wanted to have a quick conversation with you about acting now before it disappears. This is the story for many veterans that, you drag your feet a little bit too long, you wait a little bit too long, and something that would have been great has disappeared, and now you're stuck with less than adequate. Do not be that guy or gal, okay? If you have a condition that is potentially going away, more than likely, which would be tinnitus as well as sleep apnea rated with a CPAP at 50%, right? So these are those changes that are happening in a negative way sooner than later. And if you have these conditions, you should absolutely file for them now, because you want to make sure that you get that rating in a more favorable way. Now, I'm going to just kind of talk a little bit about it and, just shed a little light on what you can do to make sure that you are positioning yourself appropriately. I also want to talk about what happens if you file your intent to file now, and then in April, which is the estimated time frame that the VA is going to make these changes, which is about, 8 months from now, they make the change. What happens with your intent to file with regard to all of these changes? So with that, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. The two asks are, look, hit the thumbs up, let the video run. That is what tells YouTube that veterans issues are actually important and pushes this out to more people. So many hands make light work. I appreciate every single one of you for any minute watched, actually. So really, thank you for all the support. If you want to support the channel in other ways, consider being a member. You can do that by going to the homepage. You'll see the tabs there with videos and shorts and lives, and you'll see members, and you can click on that. Thank you so much to all you members. I do my best to acknowledge your comments as it gives me a way to kind of sort things and move forward. For those that know, I push out a lot of content, so it's hard to keep up with everybody. I do my best, and I rely on other smart people. There's plenty of you out there who've been down the road before and can share your own experiences. So your comments really do matter. Thank you. It's one team, one fight. All right, so jumping into it, I'm going to kind of flip it around a little bit, and let's talk about what happens if you file your intent to file now with the anticipation that there's going to be a change. Now, this depends, okay? So it's good and bad if you do, and it's fine either way, really. But there could be a positive aspect here. So I'm going to give you, this is the world of nuance, the VA world. Every situation's different. There's so many different quirky twists. So I'm going to give a couple different examples, and then that might make me think of something else, and then I'll have to explain that. So, here we go. One option here is you file your intent to file. Great. Time goes by. Let's say that they do a rating change for, let's say you're going to file for the two conditions we just talked about, your tinnitus and your sleep apnea. Okay. So you filed your intent to file, and now you're filing for those conditions. The rating schedule changes before you file your claim, as an example. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but let's just say that it does. So before you file your claim, 8 months from now, they change the rating schedule, and in month 10, you file your claim. The new rating schedule is in place. However, your intent to file was prior to the rating schedule change. So the effective date is prior and during the old rating schedule. Now, what's going to happen here is because your claim kind of crossed the threshold of two rating schedules, right? The VA is going to gather all of your evidence, and then what's going to happen is they're going to assess you against each rating schedule, okay? And then they're going to go, well, which one is better for you percentage-wise? And they're going to utilize that one to make your award. At least that's what they're supposed to do, and that's what they've done in the past. I mean, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with this one, but if history repeats itself with the rating change, that's how they're going to do it. So In this example, you have now preserved your old rating schedule through this time frame. So that's a good thing for you. And let's say that you filed for, again, tinnitus, ringing in the ears, and you filed for sleep apnea and you have a CPAP. So what's going to happen is they're going to rate you at 50% old schedule for your sleep apnea, and they're going to give you your 10% for your tinnitus. Great. That's awesome. You did the right thing. So that's a good way to look at what happens if you filed your intent to file prior to the rating schedule change. Now, let's say that it's a different condition. Let's say that it's mental health. Okay, so mental health, in my opinion, is going to open up the door potentially for higher ratings. Okay, somebody who's rated at 70% today could potentially get to 100% after the rating schedule change. So if you put your intent to file in today, 8 months from now, they change the rating schedule, and then on month 10, you file your claim, they are going to do the same thing. They're going to look at both rating schedules, see which one makes the most sense for you. If you rate higher on the new schedule, they're going to give you the new schedule rating. Okay, let's say that just for argument's sake, they go, you know what, you're 100%. So they go, fine, you're 100%, but they're not going to back pay you to that intent to file date because the new schedule didn't exist then. So they're going to back pay you to the schedule change date. Makes sense, right? So the rating schedule changed, and they're going to go back to the date that it changed, which was, whatever. I don't know how many months it's going to take for them to do the claim, but you get what I'm saying. So that's what they're going to go back to. So essentially, you would lose, we'll say, 8 months of back pay, not lose, but you wouldn't go back that full all the way 8 more months to the initial intent to file date. However, if the VA, let's say this is your first rodeo, and you filed your mental health claim, and for whatever reason, the VA determined that you're better off on the old rating schedule, just for an argument's sake, then they're going to mirror you again against both and look at your evidence, look at both rating schedules. And if the VA, go, you know what, you're 70% on the old schedule, for some reason you're 50% on the new schedule, we're going to pay you on the old schedule. Great. Then they're going to go all the way back to that intent to file date because the intent to file date, the old schedule was in effect. So they could go all the way back. So I hope that makes sense. So now as far as the do it before you lose it aspect, I'm not sure what's going to happen here. The April final date for these changes for auditory, respiratory, and mental health, April of 2025 is the date that they are looking to implement this. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen. They could kick the can down the road some more. Or they could do it earlier. They could do it in January if they want. Or they could do it November 1st, right? Or December 1st, whatever. We don't know when it's really going to happen. Now, again, if we look back to see what the VA has done before, the VA gave us a 60-day notice on the digestive system changes. So when they changed the digestive system rating schedule, I think for the worst for GERD, moving it from hiatal hernia criteria over to esophageal stricture criteria, I think that was bad, right, for veterans. I think that was a worse move. When that happened, when they made that change, they gave us a 60-day heads up. So that way we knew the change was coming. Now, 99% of veterans aren't reading up on that stuff to see when it does happen, and the VA doesn't do a great job in getting the information into the hands of veterans seeking this. So it's up to you to keep your eyes open and people like me to inform you. So we got that 60-day notice. A group of us on YouTube, continue to push that information out to let folks know that, hey, look, if you have GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, you may want to file that now if you haven't filed it, or if your condition got worse, you may want to file for an increase because it's getting harder to do that. the bottom line is that they gave us the 60-day notice. If at that point, if they do that again for this one, let's just use April again for the example. If April is in fact the date, then in February we should get a, hey look, we're changing the rating schedule in 60 days. At that point you can file your intent to file and then be able to then have that much time. You're crossing the two different rating schedules. It allows you the ability to be kind of matched up against both to see which one is going to be the better one for you. And again, the bottom line is that if you miss this for tinnitus and for sleep apnea, and they make the rating change and it goes into effect and you never filed a claim and you never put in an intent to file, you have lost out on, well, just those two claims alone. That would be a 60% rating. So if you're a veteran out there, just for an example, that has no rating with the VA whatsoever, but you have a service connectable sleep apnea with a CPAP and you have some ringing in your ears, right? Those two conditions, that's a 50% and a 10% rating. Now it's VA funny math, so the way that it really works would be they would look at your 50% and give you 50%. Then what happens is they go, okay, well, you're 50% bad for your sleep apnea. That means you're still 50% good. You're 50% good. They're going to take 10% of that 50% good, which is 5. They're going to add the 5 to your 50. Now you're 55% bad. Done. Now they're going to round you to the nearest 10. So they're going to go up because it's a 5. So then they're going to round you up to 60. 60% rating is no joke, especially if you only got 2. So the example here is if you have a 60% rating with a spouse, that's nearly $1,500 a month. It's actually $1,486.88. $1,486.88. So it is a decent amount of money and tax-free. So 60% is a good to go rating for two conditions, right? So don't miss out on the opportunity. It's going to blow by us before you know it. And whether you're currently in the service, look at doing a BDD claim, a benefits delivery at discharge. You have the 3 to 6 month time period before you get out that you can file your claim. Very important. And if you are currently a veteran, you're out of the military, and you have either one of these conditions and you've never filed for them and you're less than 100%, or even in some cases, even if you're 100% but not permanent in total, this might be what takes you to the permanent in total from being, if it's a static type of a nature. So something to think about. Always suggest work with an accredited rep and help you get that claim filed. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.